Welcome to TBS. This is Sadie. I think that it's about time to reveal the truth about Cindy Anderson. She's the girl that went missing in Toledo, Ohio in 1981. She worked for a lawyer's office, and she had a very strict religious family. Everyone said she was very nice. She had brown hair, brown eyes, a little bit short, really pale, white, and had curly hair. She was really good at her job, and she was just about to go to Bible college when she disappeared. But that is not what happened. She did not disappear. She left on her own. And I'm going to tell you guys why. It's very obvious, but a lot of people just don't, you know how us true crime people are. We're used to seeing patterns and putting things together, but a lot of times it just doesn't come forward that way. But this is my new deck, the Sacred Circle, and it is like a pagan journey, Celtic pagan journey. So I hope that this will look awesome for you guys. And it's new, so we'll see how it all goes. Kind of nervous about it, but we'll see. So Cindy, before she left, she was getting prank calls to her work. She was getting graffiti saying her name. Over and over again. Writing her name over and over again on the street car across from her and on the wall across from her when she's at work. By all accounts, she was looking forward to going to Bible school, started wearing makeup just before she left, and her dad was not happy about it, and he was trying to make her stop wearing makeup and doing her hair and wearing better clothes because he did not think it was Christian. I don't have a report on what the mom said about that or the sisters, but she definitely wanted to look good and stop wearing just skirts and things. But he was a little bit upset about that. Seemed like a nice man, but don't really know. So what I think we need to talk about is what really happened and what the motives were behind Cindy, her father, the lawyer she worked with. Did she have a boyfriend, etc. So she actually is pretty awesome, as you'll see. Alright, so let's see here. Yay! Okay, so here we see that Cindy was starting to learn about the world. She was starting to learn what she would like to do outside of her family's home. She wasn't very outgoing. She was very timid, but she could be assertive if she needed to be. And she was more like the silent type. She would do what she wanted, but she would learn and study and pay attention, but she wouldn't tell anyone about it. She didn't have hardly any friends, and that was because of her own choice. Her parents were not like other parents, it's true. But she also chose to be a loner, and we'll see how that comes into play. So she was really good at making a living. She had been working at the law office since she graduated high school, and it was only like a year or less. And she had a lot of money saved. She was doing really well. She was pretty much like the best. She wasn't a paralegal, but she was like a secretary. You would call it an executive assistant today. She was very competent and skilled. She would learn things that she needed to learn, and then she would do them. She was very straightforward in a way, but she just didn't want to say anything. The lawyers that she worked for could tell she was scared a lot by the prank calls and by the graffiti across the road. And so when she asked to put in a buzzer to tell the people next door that she needed help, they said yes. Now, I want you guys to remember that, because she doesn't speak up for things she needs. So why did she do it that time? And why did she even let the people know that she was getting prank calls? Because her desk was away from their desks. They could not see her. She didn't have to tell anyone, but she did. So this is saying that she had wanted change and she was ready to get it. Like, she wanted independence, she wanted to be her own person, and she started to get a feel of what her life could be like, not just as a secretary, but out in the world. She was learning a lot from being there, and it kind of changed her life in a way, because she found out so much about criminals and how things work, and the police, and how the law works, that she just kind of went crazy about it in her own mind and studied it and really enjoyed it. She was obsessed with solace. She was so private that her bedroom wasn't even private enough at her parents' house. She wanted to be in her own apartment, but the thing about it is that she didn't dare tell her family. Her dad wanted to keep a hold on her until she got married, and she went to Bible school to get married, to get her MRS, and then she would continue on and have children. And that this working was just because she was single. So that was not what she wanted. She wanted to be alone. She wanted to change her life. She was good at making money, and she was proud of that fact. And she was very good at learning and applying what she's learned. So here we see that she needs courage to go and do this, but it's not in her nature. She needs to tell the truth, but it's not in her nature to say it out loud. And she needs to go out into the world, but it's pretty scary. So I know that the snake means life in Celtic, but for these purposes, we're going to make it Christian because she was Christian. So, well, at the time, and it goes along, you'll see. So she really wanted to have a new self. But was she willing to do it? Let's see. She was afraid that she would regret if she didn't do this. She was really afraid. And I understand that. And she didn't want to, this is like her representing her dad. She didn't want to deal with fighting him and having a big blow up if she would try to change and have her own life. She knew it would just be annoying and horrible, and these are two things she wanted to avoid. And she knew that she could make her own stability, 9 of Cups, as an entrepreneur, as whatever she wanted to be. So, was she strong enough? Yes. She picked expression, Queen of Discs. She wanted to be in charge of her own money. So, what she did was this, guys. I don't know why more people don't see this, but like I said, we get used to a pattern and then maybe we don't see the other patterns. But it's just amazing how the cards don't lie. It's pretty awesome. But anyway, so she decided from working at her new lawyer job that she did not want to get married. She did not want to have kids. She did not want to live with her parents. And she wanted to have her own job, live in her own apartment, wear what she wanted, like have a style that she wanted, that she created for herself. She wanted to disappear without bothering her, getting in a fight with her parents, and she didn't want to regret never taking the chance of being on her own. It's like she could smell the freedom, but she wasn't. It was like through the door. So what she did is she came up with a plan of how to get away scot-free so that the dad, so that everybody would just, I don't know how to explain it, but here, let's go here. Okay, yeah. So she takes her discontent and she starts to work out a plan. So what she does is she knows that there's some rapists in the area, 2 black men who have been blamed, they're brothers, and they've been blamed for a lot of stuff going on, and some of it's true, and she knows what's going on because she hears about it in the office. So she knows that if she were to disappear, they would automatically blame those guys and say that's what happened to her and we need to find the body now. So she decided that she would, in her adolescent or her teenage mind, I guess she was maybe 19, 18, I don't know. In her mind at the time, this is how her imagination was working. She thought sophomorically that there would need to be something scary that would happen to her to be a precursor to set up for people already thinking this is going to happen to her. So what she did is she started to tell people that she had dreams of being abducted and that she was very scared. She started with that. Then a few months later, she started to tell people she was getting prank calls at work and it was scary and she didn't know who they were. That was really easy to do, obviously, both of those things. She was telling lies to people to make sure that they would remember, oh, she's scared, oh, something bad's happening to her. Then the third part of it was to put graffiti across the road in the mornings before she went to work, and it would look like, it would say her name, Cindy, and it would show people the stalker is real and something bad's going to happen soon. She was escalating this. And so she picked a day that she was going to disappear. And she saved her money, put it all in the trunk of her car, and took a few choice items and put them in the trunk of her car, drove to work. So when she's there, when she's at work, she's by herself in the morning for a few hours before everyone comes in, because she's doing paperwork and calling people, getting stuff ready for them. Well, this time, she takes a romance book that she was reading and opens it to a page that talks about being abducted, okay? And she leaves it open to that. I mean, this is totally teenage. She opens it to that, and it says like something about being abducted, and makes sure that it'll stay like that. And then she moves a few things like she had been there. She leaves a purse there with some things in it that she would need, and she leaves the mail in the door to look like she had never got it, and she stuffs it in the door, and then just disappears, as in she drives away and starts a new life. She did not want to be with her family anymore, and she was just sick of it. She wanted a new life, and she was going to succeed. Now, obviously, when she disappeared, no one thought she would do this. No one ever thought at all that she would be this kind of person that would ever go away, because she seemed so meek and mild. So what they did, of course, was draw the conclusion that she had wanted them to, which is those 2 guys, those rape guys, they got her. Or the stalker got her. Or she had a stalker that was in the office. So the cops had 3 different things to go about finding, and the 4th one, the real one, was nothing they were going to think about at all. So you know, throughout the years, they were still looking for a body. The parents were still waiting for her to come home or find out she's dead. Her friends, not many friends, but the people wondered in the town, it was in Toledo, how in the world this could happen. They felt so sad for the parents. And the parents died, the dad died in 2005, I think, and the mom died before that. Pretty much, she didn't say "f*** you" to them, but she did what she had to do to be free. And this is so rare. I mean, you don't really hear about a kid doing all this and then getting away with it. It happens all the time, probably. But this is just one that we happen to have the information about. And it totally points to her being a runaway, a person who starts over again. Over time, a woman came forward and said that she was the Cindy that the stalker was writing about, and it was her ex-boyfriend. But that was actually, she was pretending and wanting that guy to love her, but he didn't, and he died of an accident. So she kind of adopted being his girlfriend, even though it was a lie. And she would pretend and tell people, oh, he was the love of my life. And his initials were GH. And one time the graffiti said, Cindy, love GH. And so she took that upon herself, and and unbeknownst to what she was trying to do, pretty much diverted again away from Cindy. So I want to know where she is now, and if she's still alive. I feel like she's still alive, but we can figure it out. And what she did, like what she became, you know. Wheel of Fortune, suffering, illumination. So I want to know what that suffering means. Skill. Potential. Ooh. Okay, so she took a chance that she might suffer and fail, but she wanted illumination. She had potential and skill. Aw. Wow. Uh-oh. Oh, I hope this isn't true. She would do good in her life, but she kept going back and forth if she wanted to be with people, and usually she would gravitate, unfortunately, to people like her dad. She didn't want to be defeated by the past, but when you're a young person, you want love and you want to have a companion. And sometimes she just chose wrongly, but she was single most of her life, and she is single most of her life. She lived on the lies that she told and made a new identity that she liked, and she really went with it. Sometimes she would look back, fight with herself if she did the right thing, but she found solace in nature and going on walks, being out near the ocean. Whenever she felt worried, she would go do that and tell herself, I couldn't have done this if I was with my family. She didn't want to have the discord of fighting with them. And she was reborn, not the Christian way, but the way that she chose. And she built her own foundation. She felt abandonment and had issues of being alone, especially about the dad thing, liking guys that were kind of like her dad. Huh. Well. This is crazy. Okay, so what happened was this cannot be right, but it has to be. Okay, so this is saying that she took care of some men in her life, and they were her friends. Kind of sexual, kind of not. She had a resolution about her life and what she's done, and she started to have her own spirituality and her own kind of success, and she was good at taking care of herself and others, and that she always... Sometimes she would try to sacrifice herself because she felt guilty for what she had done for leaving her family and hurting them. But then she would like put it behind her and have like feel death about it. Okay, and she felt harmony within herself, develop willpower, movement. Okay, this is all saying the things that she did. She, at the end of her life, which is either now that she's alive or she is dead, I don't understand that, this card. I need more help with that. But this is saying that over time she lived the life of bondage, she lived the life of the lady, she lived the life of bounty and saving money, and then she became like the high priest, like more of a spiritual person who helps others and knows how to use her skills for other people. Huh, okay, well, I don't feel this way, but the cards keep saying that she's dead. And she might have died from cancer? Fire. That means heart or cancer. She died and is happy now with rest. She has hope, and she used what she could of her brain, not what her parents told her, to get to this end result, which is to be in heaven. If she would reflect upon her life, she would think of all the creative things that she made for herself, and she'd think about her health, and then going to where she is now. I don't see any children. I don't see a husband. I'm a bit iffy on this saying she's dead, but the cards are saying that. I don't feel that way. This could be me being delusional, or she's delusional. And the web, justice, reward. Okay, oh God, okay. Yeah, she's dead. And all the disillusion and everything wiped away, and she got her reward. So, if there's a lesson to be learned from Cindy, it's this. Well, there's 2 or 3 lessons. Number 1, try to think of the very bottom reasons why someone would do something in these true crime stories. And if you get to the very bottom, you find the person that disappeared or the person that was killed. And if you know that answer, you can find out what happened to them. Number 2, sometimes leaving your family is okay. And sometimes you'll know that it's important to do that. And it's okay to leave them and hurt them because you need to become your own person. And not to look back and be sad and afraid and feel guilty about it, because the way that life is, it's too short to be doing that. And her parents gave her what they could. She took what she could from them, and then she flew and had her different life. And it was an abundant life that she used her intuition to get places, and also her intellect. And the third thing is that she wouldn't have been able to be a grounded person if she had stayed there. Like, people are saying, if sometimes people say, You hurt your family. How could you do that? Why would you leave them thinking you're dead? But she knew that was the only way. Her dad was the tower. He had a very, very strict belief going on. And even though down deep he was a good man, he could not understand anything about what she wanted, and she couldn't even say it to him in a way that he'd probably even listen to. So if she would have stayed, she would have been miserable, and she would have been married to someone she didn't, well, she might have loved him, but it just wasn't she wanted to have a life where she was in control of it, which is what all of us should be. And I think that God honored that more than if she would have stayed. So this is the reading. I'm still semi-iffy about the death, but it kept saying it, so she is dead. But she did not get killed. She was actually a person who wrote her own destiny, changed her identity, and had a new life. And I kind of think that more people should do that. Having family ties is good, but being your own boss is better. I mean, I know that family means a ton, but how can you focus? How can you even focus on them if you are not, your real self? So anyway, this has been the reading. So I'll see you next time. Have a good rest of the day.